So we're going to cover in this training participant feedback within the conference controls, and this will allow you as a chairperson of the meeting to communicate with your audience via chat. So essentially there are 3 different ways that you can communicate with your audience during a call, and they can communicate with you. The first is the raise hand option. So to back up for a minute, we are in a live conference during this training, so you can see myself, the chairperson, highlighted in blue at the top, and then I have 2 participants on this call, Cal Ripken and Johnny Unitas. So let's assume for a second that someone has a question and they want to indicate to me that they have a question, whether it be they can't get in the conference, maybe they have a question on the material that I'm presenting. So Cal Ripken's raised his hand, and as soon as that happens, his name will appear at the top of my participant list, be highlighted in yellow, hand raise will appear to the right, and a little hand icon will appear to the left. And all your participants that come into conference will have the ability to raise their hand. They will have that option during conference. So if I want to address what's going on at Cal's end, I can right-click his name, I can open up a private chat window with him, and then I can chat with him directly and figure out what's going on. So let's assume that I've resolved this issue. I'm going to close the chat window, right-click on Cal's name, and then lower his hand. So that's the raise hand option for your audience to communicate with you, to let you know that there's potentially something going on their end, or they have a question on the material, etc. The second option, and the most obvious, is with each webinar, you're going to have an audio conference bridge, which will allow you to communicate with your audience. And if you have the lines open, they can communicate back to you, and your participants can communicate with one another. So if you have a call in listen-only mode, or you've muted all the lines, then you as a host can communicate with them, but they can't talk back to you. And that's essentially where the chat option comes in. So let's assume for a second that you've muted all the lines, it's a larger conference, and you can talk to your audience over the audio bridge. They can't talk back to you. So you can indicate to them if they have a question during a conference, they can ask that question through the chat option within their conference controls. So you'll see that chat question come in the bottom left here under participant feedback. So if you move to the bottom left of your screen, you'll see participant feedback. To the right of that, there are 3 gray bars. If I select those 3 gray bars, 2 options come up. One is disable or enable chat. So this allows you to turn on and off the ability for your audience to chat with you and to chat with them during conference. And the second option is the ability to turn on or off group chat during a conference. If you have group chat on, this will allow all your audience members to communicate with you and for them to communicate with one another. So if a participant has a question during a conference, they send that in. That will be seen by all the participants on the call, and then other participants can respond to that and answer that question. So it allows for a more collaborative conference if you have group chat enabled during your webinar or conference. If you don't have group chat enabled during conference, your participants can only communicate with you as a chairperson. However, as a chairperson, you can communicate directly with that audience member in a private chat, or you can broadcast a message to everyone on that conference. So for purposes of this training, I'm going to keep chat on, and then I'm also going to enable group chat. So as you see beneath participant feedback, there are 3 tabs. Group chat is where all the questions and statements that will come in from your audience. And again, if that is enabled, all the participant questions that come in will be seen by all the other participants on the call, and that would include chairpersons, co-chairpersons. So again, this is a live conference. We see here that Cal Ripken asked the question, and the most recent questions that come in or statements will appear at the bottom. So he asked, will anyone break my record of 2,632 consecutive games played? So as a host, I have 2 options here. I can respond directly to Cal. So if I go to the bottom, I'll see a field, and I can respond directly to Cal. So Cal will only see that answer, or I can broadcast the answer to everyone on the call. And again, as a chairperson, I have the ability to chat privately or chat to everyone on the call. However, as a participant, when I chat, everyone will see my answer. I don't have the option to chat directly with the chairperson. I just chat, and it's to the entire audience. So another option is I want to highlight Cal's question, and if I think this is a relevant question that should be answered and be seen by the group, I can right-click the question and then flag it as a question. What will happen is you'll see the question italicized, and it'll move it over to the second tab. So it helps organize things during your conference. So I know now this is a question that I want to answer. In order to answer it, I have to answer it from group chat. So I go back in and again, select how I want to respond to that. Now let's assume that I want to go ahead and answer that and I'm going to broadcast my response to his question to everyone. But I'll indicate who I'm replying to or whose question I'm answering by starting my message with @Cal Ripken. No. So again, everyone's going to see my response. I send that, and now I can go back into questions, I right-click this, I'll put flag as answered, and now that'll take that question that was here and move it over to answered. So it'll indicate to me any question that's been answered. You'll see the question, and then because it's under this tab, you'll know that it's been answered. Also, if I go back to group chat, the question will be crossed out. So this will also indicate to me that this was already answered. The last point I'll make is the chat that goes on between chairperson and participants during a call is recorded and stored in the portal. So after a conference, if you had a set time limit of an hour to get to all the questions that came in via chat, you weren't able to get to all your questions. Again, they're stored in the portal. And now I'm going to show you how to log into the portal and access your chat questions and statements that came in during the conference. So you've ended the conference and you're ready to go in and see your chat history. So you want to go to the portal, which is located in a welcome letter that everyone should have received. But this is the landing page for the portal. I'm going to go ahead and enter in my chairperson phone number, which is 855-852-7677, my access code, and then chairperson passcode, and select login. It's going to take me to this landing page. I want to select web conferencing, select start manage archive, and you're going to land on a web moderator page. From here I want to select view reports, and view reports is going to show a history of past conferences, whether it be audio and web, that I've hosted, so I can go in and select the conference that I want to look at. So these are past trainings I've done. I'm going to go ahead and select this one here, kind of at random. And then it's going to give me the meeting details, so title, host, start time of the meeting, the link that was used for your participants to access the meeting is the registration link. But if I move down under reports, I'll see chat, so I want to go ahead and select that. And then from here, I'll see all the chat that went on during my conference. So I'll see the time that it was sent in. I'll also see to the right, if you move, you'll see whether that was a question that came in and it was something, the check mark next to it indicates that that was something that I flagged as a question. And then if you move further to the right, another check mark will appear if I answer that question from within the conference controls. And then you'll see the person's name that appears that sent the question, and if you select their name, you'll see their email address, and then you can respond to them directly if you weren't able to get to their question during the conference. You can also download all the chat history into a CSV or Excel file, which is a nice feature. And that concludes training on participant feedback. Thank you.